The villa was quiet except for the rain sliding down the tall windows. Ijun leaned back on the leather couch, cigarette between his fingers, watching the ember glow and die as he exhaled. Silence usually calmed him, but tonight it gnawed at him. He hated silence, it gave his thoughts too much space to crawl out. His men had been careless lately, rival gangs circling, and now whispers of betrayal among his own. It all made his blood itch. Weakness. Nothing in the world disgusted him more. He had seen what weakness did. It got people killed, it tore families apart, it gave enemies something to exploit. He had promised himself he would never stomach weakness. Not in his men, not in his business, not in himself. So when the door burst open, and she stumbled inside, his first reaction was rage. Not at her but at the sight of her. She stood there, soaked from the drizzle, curls plastered to her cheeks, clutching her bag like it was the only thing holding her together. Her eyes were wide, tearful, searching the villa. And then he saw it. The red imprint across her cheek, the trickle of blood painting the corner of her mouth. Minji. Her voice was small, breaking. Where are you? Please come. Ijun's jaw flexed as he rose to his feet. He stepped out of the shadows of the living room, the dim light catching the sharp lines of his face. Her eyes widened when they landed on him. Her breath hitched. Oh, I didn't know you were here. She pulled her cardigan tighter, trying to hide the trembling of her hands. He didn't answer. His gaze raked over her face, down to her clenched fists, then back to the bruise. Every second that passed made the rage coil tighter in his chest. Finally, he spoke. Who did this? Her lips parted, but no sound came. She shook her head, backing a step away. It doesn't matter. I'll just wait for Minji. Forget I came. Ijun's voice sharpened. Don't play games with me. Who put their hands on you? She looked down, chewing her lip until it bled. It's not important. In 2 strides, he was in front of her, tilting her chin up with his fingers. His touch wasn't gentle. It was firm, forcing her to meet his eyes. His voice was low, controlled, and dangerous. Say his name. Her eyes shimmered with fresh tears. My ex, she whispered. He was angry that I left. I tried to walk away, but he slapped me. Her throat bobbed. I thought he would stop, but he didn't. Ijun dropped his hand. His cigarette smoldered in the ashtray behind him. Forgotten. He grabbed his coat from the back of the chair, his movements quick and decisive. Her brow furrowed. Wait, where are you going? He slid his arms into the coat sleeves. His voice came out like ice. To teach your ex what happens when he touches a woman. She stepped forward, panic in her voice. No, please. I didn't come here for that. I just wanted Minji. He stopped at the door, his back to her. You think I'm going to let a man mark your face and breathe easy tomorrow? His laugh was humorless. You really don't know me. Her chest tightened. Why? Why do you even care? For a long moment, he didn't answer. The silence stretched until it hurt. Then, without turning around, he said, Because it disgusts me when the strong prey on the weak, and you are my sister's friend. I shouldn't let him go scot-free. The door slammed shut behind him. When he returned hours later, the house was quiet. She had curled up on the couch, knees to her chest, trying to will her tears away. The sound of his footsteps made her head snap up. Ijun leaned against the doorframe. No blood on his hands, no evidence of violence. Just that cold, satisfied smirk tugging at his mouth. Her voice trembled. You did something to him, didn't you? He didn't answer. He only studied her with that sharp, unreadable gaze. Then he spoke, soft but cutting. Don't waste your tears on weak men again. Next time, come to me first. Her heart shouldn't have fluttered, but it did. And Ijun, who hated weakness more than anything, realized, to his horror, that her softness had just hooked him like no one else ever had. Minji's laughter rang through the villa's living room, bright and carefree, as she scrolled through her best friend's phone. The 2 girls sat cross-legged on the couch, snacks scattered across the table. Ijun was upstairs, but his ears picked up everything. He told himself he wasn't listening, that their chatter was nothing more than background noise. But the moment she laughed, soft, melodic, fragile, he stopped reading his reports. The crybaby was here again. He came downstairs, silent as a predator, his presence filling the space. Minji noticed first. "Appa, you're back already?" His gaze slid to her best friend, who instantly straightened, almost like a child caught misbehaving. He smirked faintly at the sight. She dropped her eyes, trying to focus on her phone again. But Yijun wasn't the type to let anyone hide from him. "You!" His voice cut through the room. Her head snapped up. "Me? Yes, you. Come here." Minji frowned. "Appa, don't scare her." "I'm not scaring her." Yijun's eyes never left her. "I just want to see something." She hesitated but rose slowly, padding across the room until she stood before him. He tilted his head, studying her face. Then suddenly, he reached out and brushed his thumb across her cheekbone where the bruise had been days ago. She flinched at the contact. Yijun's lips curved into a sharp grin. Still sore, her cheeks burned. "No, it's healing." "Good." He leaned closer, his breath brushing her ear. "If a man ever touches you again, I'll break his hands before he can lift them." She froze. The words should have terrified her, but instead, her heart beat like a trapped bird. Behind them, Minji groaned. "Appa, stop being creepy. She's sensitive, you know?" Yijun leaned back, eyes narrowing at his sister's words. Sensitive, weak, soft, all the things he hated. Yet when he glanced at her again, he found himself smirking. "Sensitive, huh? No wonder you cry at everything." Her lips parted in protest. "I don't cry at everything." He raised a brow. "Really? You were crying the other day when you couldn't find a taxi in the rain. That was different. And last week, when you watched that stupid drama and bawled for an hour." She flushed crimson. "Minji told you that?" Yijun chuckled, low and amused, the sound curling through her chest. "I didn't need her to. You wear your emotions like an open wound. Anyone can see it." Her throat tightened, and sure enough, her eyes shimmered with tears. Yijun's smirk faltered. He hated it. He should have hated it. Weak women had no place in his world. But watching her try so hard not to cry, even as her lashes glistened, did something strange to him. Something dangerous. He sighed, brushing a hand through his hair. "You're pathetic." Her lips trembled, and she turned, ready to retreat back to Minji. But before she could take a step, his hand shot out, gripping her wrist, not roughly, but firm enough to hold her still. "Wait." His voice was lower now, softer, almost reluctant. She looked back at him, startled. He searched her face for a long moment, then released her. "Forget it. Go sit with Minji." She blinked, confused, but nodded and hurried back to the couch. Yijun watched her curl into his sister's side, laughing nervously again. To anyone else, she was just Minji's fragile best friend, a girl too soft for the sharp edges of his world. But to Yijun, she was quickly becoming a puzzle he couldn't stop trying to solve. And he hated puzzles almost as much as he hated weakness. Yet here he was craving both. It happened on a quiet Tuesday evening. She had stayed late at work, the Seoul streets already dim when she left. Her bag swung at her side, and though she tried to shake it off, the eerie feeling of being followed clung to her skin. Every time she glanced back, the same black sedan crawled behind her, headlights low, engine humming like a predator stalking prey. Her heart thudded faster. She ducked into an alley, hoping to cut across toward the busier road, but the car stopped. A man stepped out, tall, broad-shouldered, with a scar across his mouth. His smirk made her stomach twist. "Pretty little thing," he drawled in accented Korean. "You're Yijun's, aren't you?" Her breath caught. "I don't know what you're talking about." But the man only chuckled darkly and took a step closer. "I'm talking about the one that protects you." Her knees trembled. She wanted to run, to scream, but her voice wouldn't come. That's when a motorcycle engine roared into the alley. A black bike screeched to a stop, and there he was, Yijun. His leather jacket clung to his frame, his cold eyes burning with fire as he swung off the bike. The man cursed under his breath. Damn, he came faster than I thought. Yijun didn't waste time. His fist connected with the man's jaw in a blur of motion, sending him crashing against the wall. She gasped, pressing her back to the brick as the scene unfolded like something out of her nightmares. The scarred man spat blood and staggered up, but one look at Yijun's murderous glare made him think better of it. He scrambled back into the car, tires screeching as he disappeared into the night. For a moment silence reigned. Only her uneven breathing filled the air. Then Yijun turned. Why are you walking alone at night? Taking alleys? He stalked toward her, eyes blazing. Do you have any idea what could have happened if I wasn't here? Tears welled in her eyes, her lips trembling. I didn't know. Of course you didn't. His words cut, but his hand was already lifting, brushing her damp curls from her face. His touch lingered a second too long. You never know. You just walk around soft and careless, waiting for wolves to devour you. Her chest ached. I'm sorry. Something in his expression shifted at that. His jaw clenched, his hand dropping back to his side. He hated apologies, hated weakness. And yet, seeing her small frame shake in the rain twisted something inside him he couldn't name. He exhaled sharply. Come with me. Before she could protest, he pulled her toward his bike. The ride through Seoul blurred past her, her arms clinging tightly around his waist. By the time they stopped, her eyes widened. Not the villa, but a sleek, modern penthouse overlooking the Han River. His private sanctuary. Why am I here? She asked softly as he led her inside. Yijun kicked off his boots, tossing his keys on the counter. Because you're not safe in your apartment anymore. They know your face now. He glanced back at her. Until I say otherwise, you stay here. Her lips parted. Stay here? With you. He smirked faintly, though his eyes stayed hard. What, are you afraid of the big bad wolf? Her cheeks burned, and she looked away. No, Good. His voice dropped, quieter but heavier, like a vow. Because wolves don't let go once they've found what they want to protect. The words sank into her chest, leaving her both terrified and breathless. And as she stood in the center of Yijun's world, surrounded by the sharp edges of his life, she realized something. The most dangerous place she could ever be was right next to him. Her first night in Yijun's penthouse was nothing like she expected. The place was too clean, too sharp. Every piece of furniture looked expensive and unwelcoming, like no one really lived here. The floor-to-ceiling windows displayed Seoul's glittering skyline, but instead of warmth, the view only emphasized how high and isolated she was. Yijun tossed her a folded hoodie as he moved through the space. Change. You'll catch a cold walking in the rain like that. She clutched the hoodie against her chest, hesitating. Where should I? Bathrooms down the hall. He cut in, not even looking at her. When she came back, swallowed in his oversized hoodie, she found him in the kitchen pouring himself a glass of whiskey. The dim light pooled over his sharp profile, his sleeves rolled up to his elbows, veins running down his forearms as he leaned against the counter. He looked untouchable. She fidgeted. I don't drink. His lips curved faintly. I didn't offer. Her cheeks warmed. Oh. He took a slow sip, watching her over the rim of the glass. She shifted under his gaze, pulling the sleeves of the hoodie over her hands. Why are you staring? She whispered, finally breaking the silence. He set the glass down. Because I'm trying to figure you out. Her brows furrowed. Figure me out? You cry too easily. You let people hurt you. You should have broken that bastard's nose when he slapped you. His jaw tightened. But you didn't. You just ran. The words stung. Her throat tightened as her eyes glistened again. I'm not like you. I can't just fight or hurt people when I'm scared. A harsh laugh escaped him. Exactly. That's why you'll always need someone like me. Her lips parted, trembling. You think I'm weak. He took a step closer, towering over her until she had to tilt her head back. His voice dropped, low and rough. I know you're weak. That's what drives me insane about you. Her breath hitched. The heat of him, the scent of leather and smoke clinging to his skin. It all made her dizzy. Then his hand lifted, brushing the damp curls from her face. His thumb lingered at the corner of her mouth, dangerously gentle. But for some reason, he murmured, his gaze locking with hers, I can't stand seeing anyone else touch you. Her heart pounded so loud she was sure he could hear it. She should have pulled away. She should have said something, anything, but the words wouldn't come. The air crackled between them. Finally, he straightened, pulling back before crossing a line he wasn't ready for. He grabbed his glass again, downing the rest in one swallow. You can take the guest room, he muttered, his tone suddenly curt. Don't wander around without telling me. This isn't a game. She stood there in his hoodie, staring at his broad back as he turned away. Her chest ached with confusion. Why did he scare her, yet make her feel safer than anyone else ever had? And why, no matter how hard she tried, couldn't she stop wanting him to look at her like that again? That night she couldn't sleep. The guest room was too pristine, too cold, like no one had ever slept there before. She tossed and turned until frustration boiled over. Eventually, she padded barefoot down the hall, drawn by the faint glow of light spilling under a door. She found him in his study, sitting behind a desk stacked with papers and guns she pretended not to see. His jacket was gone, shirt unbuttoned at the top, dark hair falling over his forehead as he scanned documents. The smell of smoke and whiskey hung in the air. He didn't look up. You're noisy. She blinked. I didn't make a sound. You breathe like a scared rabbit. His voice was flat, but there was a glint of amusement in his eyes when he finally met hers. Her cheeks burned. I couldn't sleep. Figures. He leaned back, studying her. Too quiet for you? She nodded. His lips twitched. Figures again. You probably need lullabies to fall asleep. Her mouth fell open. I do not. Crybaby like you? Definitely. I'm not. But her protest died when he suddenly stood, pushing the chair back. His tall frame loomed as he crossed the room, stopping just inches from her. His hand lifted, brushing a curl from her face, lingering far too long. Go back to bed, he said softly, his tone dropping. I don't want you wandering my halls at night. I just might be tempted to do something. Her chest tightened. She wanted to ask him what he meant, but the words never left her lips. By the second night, she found herself sitting on the penthouse balcony, curled up with a blanket, staring at the glittering Han River. She thought she was alone, until his voice cut through the quiet. You'll freeze out here. She turned to find him leaning against the sliding door, cigarette glowing between his fingers. He stepped closer, draping his jacket over her shoulders without asking. Her heart skipped. Thank you. He didn't reply. Instead, he leaned on the railing beside her, eyes fixed on the city. The silence stretched, but unlike before, it didn't feel cold. It felt safe. Finally, she whispered, Why do you hate weak people so much? His jaw tightened, cigarette burning low. Because weakness gets people killed. I learned that the hard way. She swallowed. But I'm not exactly strong. For a moment he said nothing. Then his eyes slid to hers, dark and unreadable. Yeah, he murmured. You are not. And I should hate you, but I don't. Her breath caught. He dropped the cigarette, crushing it under his boot, before walking back inside, leaving her with the echo of words she couldn't unhear. The third night he found her crying. She thought she was quiet, muffling her sobs into the pillow. But Yijun's footsteps were silent as he entered the room, stopping at her bedside. What now? His voice was gruff, but softer than usual. She sat up quickly, wiping her eyes. Nothing, I'm fine. Don't lie. He crouched down, his face level with hers. His eyes narrowed at the tear stains on her cheeks. Talk. Her voice cracked. I don't belong here. I feel like I'm just a burden to you. I don't want to make your life harder. For once, he didn't mock her, didn't call her pathetic. Instead, he sighed and reached out, cupping her cheek in his palm. You think you're a burden? His thumb brushed away a tear. You don't get it, do you? You're the only thing in this place that doesn't feel like a burden. Her heart twisted. Before she could respond, he pulled back, standing to his full height again. "Sleep. You'll be safe as long as you're under my roof." Then he left, the door clicking softly behind him. And she lay there, clutching his hoodie tighter, unable to stop the way her heart betrayed her. Over the next few weeks, she began to notice small things. The way Yi-jun always checked the locks before bed. The way he tossed extra groceries on the counter when he came back from business. The way his gaze softened barely whenever she laughed with Minji. He still called her weak, still teased her mercilessly. But beneath the sharpness, there was something else now. Something raw, something possessive. And though she didn't dare admit it, she found herself wanting him in ways she knew she shouldn't. Because Yi-jun wasn't safe nor soft. He was a wolf. But maybe, just maybe he was her wolf. The penthouse days didn't last forever. Eventually, the threat passed, and she returned to her small apartment near the university. But something had shifted. She wasn't just Minji's soft, crybaby best friend anymore. She was his. Not officially, not in words, but Yi-jun knew it, and he waited. At first, she was the same fragile girl. He would still catch her tearing up over dramas, apologizing for every little thing, leaning on Minji for comfort. But then slowly, he started noticing changes. The first time was at a cafe. Some stranger had bumped into her, spilling coffee on her blouse. Yi-jun expected the tears, the trembling apology, the usual retreat. But instead, she straightened, eyes narrowing. "It's fine," she said firmly. "But you should watch where you're going." The man stammered an apology and scurried off. Yi-jun, sitting 2 tables away, smirked into his glass. Finally, a spark. The second time was at a dinner with Minji. Yi-jun joined them late, sliding into the seat across from her. She was laughing about something, glowing under the restaurant lights. And when he teased her, still crying at TV shows, she didn't shrink. Instead, she leaned forward, eyes flashing. "And what about you? Still hiding behind that scary face to cover up how lonely you are?" Minji gasped, choking on her drink. Yi-jun froze. No one spoke to him like that, ever. But instead of fury, he felt something far worse. Desire. Continued like this for months. He'd catch her studying late at libraries, no longer needing Minji by her side. He saw her practicing presentations, her once shaky voice now clear and confident. He heard whispers from Minji about how her friend was starting to work at clinics, admired by professors and patients alike. Each change made his chest tighten. She was still soft, still too gentle for his world, but she was no longer fragile. She was becoming a woman who wouldn't just cry and run, a woman who might choose someone else. One night, he confronted her after walking her home. "You've changed," he said, leaning casually against the wall near her door. His eyes, however, were sharp. She blinked up at him. "Changed? You don't cry at everything anymore. You talk back. You're stronger." Her lips curved into a small smile. "Is that a compliment from you?" He smirked faintly. "Don't get used to it." But as she unlocked her door, he caught her wrist. Her breath caught. "Yi-jun." His voice was low, dangerous, almost pleading. "Don't make me regret waiting." She didn't understand what he meant then. Or maybe she pretended not to. But the words burned into her all the same. Years passed. She graduated. She built her career. She moved into a nicer apartment, filled with books and flowers. She laughed more, cried less. And Yi-jun watched it all from the shadows, never letting another man come close enough to hurt her. Until the day he saw her walking hand in hand with someone else. The man was smiling, holding her bag, making her laugh the way Yi-jun had once sworn only he could. For the first time in his life, Yi-jun felt something he couldn't fight, couldn't threaten away, couldn't control. Jealousy. The waiting game was over. Now the wolf was ready to bare his teeth. Yi-jun had always been patient. Patience was survival in the MAFIA world, waiting for the right moment to strike, letting enemies grow comfortable before tearing them down. But patience turned poisonous when it came to her. The first time he saw her with that man, he told himself it was nothing. Coworker. A friend. But then he saw the way the guy leaned in too close, the way her smile softened, the way she let him carry her bag. Something inside Yi-jun snapped. He began small. When the man tried to send flowers to her clinic, they never arrived. Lost in delivery. When he called late at night, his phone mysteriously lost signal. When he walked her home, a sleek black car lingered just down the street, headlights slicing through the dark until the man quickened his steps, sweat beading on his neck. The man never saw Yi-jun, but he felt him. That was the point. One evening, Yi-jun sat across the street from a restaurant where they were having dinner. He lit a cigarette, the smoke curling around his sharp features as he leaned back in the car seat. From where he sat, he could see her laughing, hand brushing the man's arm. His jaw clenched. Pathetic, he muttered to himself. Not at her, but at the man who thought he was worthy of sitting across from her. His driver shifted nervously. Boss, you want me to? No, Yi-jun's voice was cold steel. Not yet. But when the man excused himself to the restroom, Yi-jun moved. The confrontation was silent but brutal. The man stepped into the dim hallway leading to the bathroom and froze. Yi-jun was already there, leaning against the wall like he owned the place. The stranger's face drained of color. Yi-jun, didn't think I'd notice? Yi-jun's voice was quiet, deadly. He didn't raise his fists. He didn't need to. The weight of his presence was enough. I don't want any trouble. Then don't cause any. Yi-jun stepped forward, eyes narrowing. If I see you near her again, you won't leave with your life. The man swallowed hard, nodding quickly, the scent of fear rolling off him. Yi-jun smirked, brushing past him with a whisper only the terrified man could hear. She's not for you. That night, she noticed her date was unusually quiet, tense, glancing over his shoulder as if hunted. Are you okay? She asked softly, reaching across the table. He forced a smile, muttering something about work stress. But Yi-jun, watching from the shadows outside, felt satisfaction pulse through him. The wolf had marked his territory. It continued like this: men who tried to get close to her would mysteriously back off. Some too scared to explain, some simply vanishing from her life altogether. She began to wonder if she was cursed. Why did every man who showed interest in her disappear? Why did her relationships always crumble before they began? But Yi-jun knew the truth. There was no curse. There was only him, and he would never let anyone else touch what was his. It happened on a rainy night. She had just come back from dinner with her so-called boyfriend. Yi-jun was already waiting, leaning against the wall outside her building like he owned the place. Cigarette burning low, suit damp from the drizzle. She froze. Yi-jun? What are you doing here? His eyes cut to her, sharp as a blade. That guy, the one you've been seeing. She blinked, clutching her umbrella tighter. What about him? You're not to see him again. His voice was flat, absolute. Her jaw dropped. Excuse me? You don't get to decide who I date. He pushed off the wall, stalking closer until she had to tilt her chin up to meet his eyes. His presence swallowed the night whole. Funny, he said darkly. That's what they all think. Until they disappear. Her stomach dropped. What do you mean? His smirk was cruel, feral. You really didn't notice? Every man who tried to get close to you gone. You want to know why? She shook her head, heart pounding. No, Yi-jun, don't. Because I made them disappear. His voice was low, guttural, full of a hunger that burned. Because no one touches what's mine. Her breath caught. Yours. Don't play dumb. He stepped closer, so close the rain dripped from his hair onto her skin. You've known since the penthouse. Since the first night you cried into my shirt. You belong to me. Her umbrella slipped from her hands, crashing onto the wet pavement. Yi-jun, this is insane. You can't just. I already did. His fingers gripped her chin, tilting her face up, his eyes devouring her. Do you understand now? All this time, I've been waiting for you to grow up. And now that you have, you think I'll let some weak little bastard take you away from me? Her pulse thundered in her ears. Part of her wanted to shove him away, to scream at him for controlling her life. But another part, the part that remembered his jacket over her shoulders, his hand brushing away her tears, the way he always watched, burned with something she couldn't name. Desire. Yi-jun, her voice broke. You're not giving me a choice. His lips curved, dangerous and possessive. You're right. I'm not. And then he kissed her. It wasn't soft nor gentle. It was years of hunger, jealousy, and obsession unleashed at once, claiming her mouth like he'd been starving for it all along. She shoved at his chest, breathless, trembling. Not because she didn't want him, but because she wanted him too much. When he finally pulled back, his forehead pressed to hers. His voice was a growl. Run to him, run to anyone you want. I'll still be there. In the shadows. In your blood. You'll never get rid of me. Her heart cracked under the weight of it. Because the worst part wasn't his threat. The worst part was that she believed him. The kiss haunted her. Every time she closed her eyes, she felt him again. The heat of his mouth, the rough scrape of his hand against her jaw, the way he spoke as if her life had always belonged to him. And that terrified her. So she resisted. She threw herself into work, picking up extra shifts at the clinic, telling herself she had no time for mafia men who lurked in shadows. When her boyfriend called, she said yes to dinners, yes to movie nights, yes to holding his hand, even when it felt wrong. Normal, she told herself. This is normal. This is safe. But safety felt hollow when every shadow in the street made her heart race. When every deep voice in a crowd made her turn, hoping or dreading that it was him. It wasn't long before she saw the cracks forming. Her boyfriend was kind, patient, the sort of man she should have wanted. But when he kissed her, she felt nothing. When he held her, she remembered the iron grip of Yi-jun's hand on her wrist. When he said, I love you, it sounded flimsy compared to Yi-jun's growled you're mine. She hated herself for it. So she pushed harder, forcing herself to smile, forcing herself to laugh, forcing herself to believe this could work. But Yi-jun didn't make it easy. She began to notice him everywhere. Across the street when she left work. At the back of the cafe where she had lunch. On the opposite platform at the subway station. Never close enough to speak. Never far enough to forget. And the men in her life noticed too. One night, after walking her home, her boyfriend stopped just outside her door. His eyes flicked nervously to the alley. Doesn't it feel like someone's watching you? He asked. Her stomach dropped. She forced a laugh. You're just being paranoid. But when she shut the door and pressed her back against it, she knew the truth. Yi-jun was there. And she hated that a twisted part of her felt safer because of it. The breaking point came a week later. She had been on another date, dinner, a quiet walk through the park. When her boyfriend leaned down to kiss her goodnight, she froze. Not because of him, because Yi-jun was watching. She couldn't see him, but she felt him. The same way prey feels the predator's eyes from the dark. Her body locked, heart hammering, shame flooding her veins. Her boyfriend pulled back, frowning. You're distant. Always distant. His voice cracked. It's like someone else already owns you. Her throat closed. She wanted to deny it. Wanted to scream no, I'm free. But she couldn't. Because she knew he was right. That night, alone in her apartment, she broke down. Fists pressed to her eyes as she whispered through sobs. I don't want him. I don't want him. I don't. But her body betrayed her. Her heart betrayed her. Because every tear was for Yi-jun. She couldn't take it anymore. The ruined dates. The constant shadow. The way men fled from her life as if chased by ghosts. She was done crying into her pillow. Done pretending nothing was happening. So she went to him. The penthouse door slammed open as she stormed inside. Rain dripping from her hair. Eyes blazing. Yi-jun looked up from where he sat on the couch. Jacket tossed aside. Whiskey glass in hand. Well, he drawled, lips curving in that infuriating smirk. The kitten finally learned how to scratch. Don't you dare, she snapped, slamming the door shut behind her. Don't you dare make this into one of your jokes. His brows rose at the fury in her tone. He set the glass down slowly, deliberately, and leaned forward. Go on then. Scream. She did. You've been ruining my life. Her voice cracked, raw and trembling. Every man who tries to care about me, every chance I have at something normal, you destroy it. You sit in your shadows and decide who I can and can't love. Like my life is some game for you to play. Ijun rose to his feet, unhurried, a wolf circling prey. Normal? He echoed, dark amusement glinting in his eyes. You call those boys normal? Weak little things who can't even look me in the eye? That's what you want? Pathetic scraps. Her hands balled into fists. At least they're not you. The words cut through the room like a blade. For a long, taut moment, silence pressed down between them, broken only by the soft tick of the clock. Ijun stepped closer, towering over her, voice low and lethal. Say it again, she faltered. His presence, his nearness, his heat. It wrapped around her, burning away her resolve. But she forced the words out anyway. You're poison, Ijun. You don't care about me. You just want to control me. His hand shot out, gripping her wrist. Not harsh, but unyielding. He yanked her closer, their bodies colliding with the force of his restraint. His eyes, dark and feral, locked on hers. You think this is control? His voice was a growl, chest vibrating against hers. No, this is obsession. This is hunger. This is years of wanting something I had no right to want. Her heart pounded. Then let me go. But his grip didn't loosen. Instead, his lips hovered at her ear, words dripping like fire. You wouldn't be here screaming at me if you really wanted me to let go. Her breath hitched, betraying her. She shoved at his chest, tears burning at the corners of her eyes. Not from weakness, but from the war inside her. I hate you, she whispered. Ijun's mouth curved, dangerous and knowing. No, baby. You hate how much you want me. Thank you for watching. What do you think about their relationship? Do you think she's resisting a bit too much, or is he coming up too strong? I would love to know your opinion on this. If you're new here, we'd love to know you better, so leave us a comment and tell us where you're watching from. Who knows? Our next story might come from your home country. If you enjoyed this video, take a moment to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you don't miss our next release. And if you feel moved, go ahead and share this with someone who loves a good story. Thanks for being part of this growing community. We're so glad to have you here.